And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The Messages of Inspiration and Hope is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6 Minute Webinar. Today, Donna Guinois and we got a great friend of ours, a guest. He's been on our radio show, Mr. Gary Wilson. When it comes to real estate and investing and making money and that sort of thing, not only has he been very successful there, he's also written, I think, about 7 books on the subject. And we're just really excited to have him here. And we're going to be right back with Gary right after this brief message.
Hi, and welcome to the Messages of Inspiration and Hope show that's proudly sponsored by the 6 Minute Webinar. Today we have some exciting and very interesting guests, real people just like you and me. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the show. Now here's Jim.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say also thank you so very much for all of you that watch the show and you share the show, because we heard from E360 TV that we just keep ticking up and up and up. And I just want to reach out and say thank you so much. And we realize part of that success not only is you, but also our great guest. And today, Donna Guinois, let me bring Donna to the stage there. Hey, Donna, how you doing?
Hi, Jim. I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm as plumb proud to be here. That's just the best way I can say it, ladies and gentlemen, because it's an honor to be here with Donna and also Mr. Gary Wilson. He's really incredible, isn't he?
He is amazing. His dossier reads like, holy moly, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was reading where at age 40, he retired as a corporate vice president in national banking at the age of 40. And so, wow, yeah, that's really impressive. And all the thing that I really like is that he's traded over 3,000 investment properties in less than 5 years. So you folks out there interested in real estate, you might want to share this show with others that are interested in real estate, and you may want to get you a pencil and paper or whatever and take some notes. Ladies and gentlemen, Don, I'm going to let you welcome Mr. Gary Wilson to the show.
Gary, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Jim. How are you?
Doing good, sir. So glad that you're able to join us, and we're so happy to have you here. And Donna, I tell you, when you think about Gary and his accomplishments, we've had him on the radio show, and he just seems to he's kind of like the Energizer Bunny, just keeps going and going and going, sharing information, helping people. And that is why we're so honored to have him on the show, isn't it?
It really is. And I mean, you really are a real estate guru. You know it inside out and outside in. And, I'm excited for you to kind of share some of your secrets and your little nuggets of wisdom in some of the things that are simple for people to do today. Mm-hmm. And I think right now, especially, we have some uncertainty in the world, and I know people are looking for, and people are looking for a way, wouldn't you agree, Jim and Gary, to maybe give themselves a little real estate security?
Oh, yeah, because the situation we're in today, I mean, it's just, we're going out in uncharted waters here. And I'm also a firm believer that you got to own your life. You got to take responsibility of your life. And what's that old song? Nobody's going to drag me down or something like that. I forget the words to it. That's why I never made as a big time singer. They said, number one, you can't sing. Number two, you can't remember the lyrics. And they did let me sing backup, as I like to say. They kept telling me to back up. But let's start with Gary. And Gary, would you be so kind as to give people a little background about who you are and that sort of thing? Anything of interest you'd like to share with us? We'd love to hear it, brother.
Sure. Well, one little tidbit is we were talking before the show about the fact that I was born in Grafenberg, Germany. And that's used to be a military base. It's not anymore, but I was the first airborne baby of the year in 1963. I was born in Grafenberg in a field clinic, and there was a huge blizzard, no ambulances, no road traffic. They had to take me from a helicopter from Grafenberg to Nuremberg, and back then helicopters weren't equipped like they are today. So they wrapped me in a wool army blanket, stuffed me in a cardboard box. The nurse was holding me, My mom was in a gurney wearing the nurse's coat. The two pilot and co-pilot couldn't see anything. All they had was radar. And we landed in Nuremberg, and Stars and Stripes magazine was there with photographers taking pictures of this whole procession coming out of the helicopter. So my whole life, guys, that's pretty much that. That's what it's been a crazy ride up and down, left and right, but I'm smiling the whole way, So, but I will tell you this: fast forward, my first real estate experience was equally fortuitous. My college roommate's name was Socrates. His dad was a Greek immigrant, and we became best friends. We're still good friends today. And when we graduated, his dad looked at us and he said, "Look, you're not going to rent. You're going to buy. And you're not going to just buy some old house somewhere. You're going to buy something you can make money on." Of course, we were 22 years old, thinking, "Yeah, let's show us that kind of good stuff." So we bought a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom rancher in Virginia Beach, Virginia, from a guy in the Navy. He was in active duty, and it was investing. He was using his VA eligibility to buy houses, live in them, and then live for 2 years, refinance, and then buy another one with his renewed eligibility. So it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom ranch. We list out the other 2 bedrooms, rented them out, and that combined rent paid for Socrates and I to own a house. So we lived there too in the 2 other bedrooms. So essentially lived for free. And that was my very first experience. And if I had a lucky break, I'd say that was it. Not because his dad helped us get the property. He didn't give us money. He never, ever gave us the fish. He always taught us how to fish. But that was a lucky break because it taught me to not be fearful and not be scared, to go ahead and say yes and seize opportunity. And, the rest they say is history. There's lots of fun stories in there, but that one event right there was a turning point for me in my life. And the rest of my life has been spent in and around, under, over, on top of real estate.
So it was a catapult to your real estate journey in life.
Yeah. Emotionally, psychologically, mentally, academically, that was, if it wasn't for that, who knows what I'd be doing, but that was the one pivotal point in my life I'd say I can point to,
I just put your website up there. I think I got that in there correctly. If not, let me know and I'll be glad to change it.
Okay.
But Gary, it's really amazing what you've done, because you traded over 3,000 investment properties in less than 5 years. I've got one question on that. When did you sleep? We're talking 3,000 properties, folks, in 60 months. I mean, do the math on that. I mean, you're not going to be, sitting in Tahiti or somewhere.
Yeah. Well, really what it comes down to is, by the way, it's actually, the initials are correct, but it's Real Estate with Gary Wilson spelled out, the website. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, the email address is shortened, but that's Real Estate with Gary Wilson's website. So in any case, what I recognized early on is I was in banking for about 18 years in systems and operations, and we did mergers and acquisitions. As you might imagine, we had to be very disciplined and strict with our time and very system oriented. So when I started investing, I recognized that the real estate agents themselves were typically not very system oriented. They didn't have systems and processes and procedures. It was pretty much fly by the seat of your pants, right? And a lot of them really weren't equipped to help me or other investors for that matter. So what I figured I would do is I'd get my license, and I'd solve the problem by getting my license. Turns out it was another pivotal turning point for me, because when I first got it, I thought to myself, and any agent out there listening is going to laugh at this, my first thought was, how hard can this be? Hey, Bobby meets Sue. Sue meets Bobby. Let's open up the front door and look at the pretty carpet. That's what I thought. Yeah, real estate obviously is an entire industry with its own set of rules and regulations and pros and cons and benefits and features. What I did was I brought my systems background from banking and applied it to real estate investing and real estate brokerage. So I systematized how I did my transactions. It was literally a factory line, right? For example, I had a file cabinet drawer just for flipping, and another file cabinet drawer just for buying rentals, and another one for property management, and another one for wholesaling. And I didn't want to take on clients as an agent. That wasn't why I got my license. I got my license because I wanted to help me invest and be a better investor and have access to the material and all the properties and have that neat little code that gets them in all the properties, right?
Mhm.
But it turns out the other investors needed help just like I did. So another fortuitous event was this. A local guru had invited me to be on his radio program. This goes back probably 17, 18 years now.
Mhm.
And he heard about me, the fact that I was buying properties and doing pretty good. I'd gone to some local real estate club events and things like that. And he called me and invited me, and I said, sure, I'd be glad to do that. So I went on a Saturday morning business program, and his phone started ringing off the hook because I was a regular guy, and here I am, regular guy buying properties, just like they say in the infomercials. It is true. You can do this too. So what that led to was he would call me and say, would you come on Saturday to my classroom where I teach? Not to teach, I just want the students to meet you and go to lunch with you and let them pick your brain. I said, absolutely, I'd be thrilled. Well, that turned into me doing that once a month on half a day on a Saturday for fun. He didn't pay me. I did it because it was fun.
Mhm.
And what happened is this is the comical part, but another pivotal point. They found out I had my license, and all the students would ask me, can you be my realtor? And I said, no, I don't do that. I got my license for myself. I'm not interested in open doors and things like that. Well, after about 100 times, I'm thinking, well, maybe God's trying to sell me something. So I thought, I'll say yes. So the next class I went to, now granted, this is an average of 25 people, and I learned a valuable marketing lesson. Whenever you tell 25 people, only 2 of them can do the thing they want to do, what do you think happens? All 25 people want to be the 2 people. So
Mhm.
called scarcity and urgency. I didn't know that until years later. But I started taking them out and I said, we're going to do this my way. This is how I invest. I want you to just follow what I'm doing and I'll earn these commissions. Turns out it was a pretty good thing to do because I built a brokerage company based on that principle. All we did was focus on investors, and we were the fastest growing brokerage company in our region 3 years in a row during the recession, by the way. This is now 2007, 8, and 9. We literally grew
Mhm.
sixfold in 3 years. Sorry, that's a 6. Um,
Wow.
so the reason why this is important is um, we now have agents all across the country in 18 different states. We call investor agents who are trained to work with investors following the exact same thing I did all those 17, 18, 20 years ago. Okay. That's why that's important. So I want to give everybody hope and belief that there are agents out there that know how to help you. They're not all their traditional agents. You want to look specifically for investor agents, and the only way they can get that is that I have to teach them. I'm the only one that has the program that does that. So it's like a niche within a niche. Um,
Mhm.
but the reason I really do it is it goes back to my original concerns: is how am I going to grow as an investor when even the agents themselves don't invest, and they really can help me. And we solved that literally one agent at a time, one class at a time over the last 5 years or so. I've been teaching this for 5 years now, and we now have a team called the Global Investor Agent Team (GIA) in 18 different states. So we're growing every week. We're adding new people to the team. So everybody can have access to
Wow.
that. It doesn't cost anything, you know. That's really where I am now, and everything I did up to this point led to this. I didn't have a big design. It was just it was basically following what I felt like I was being called to do, you know.
So let me clarify that. You say that people can do that and it doesn't cost them anything?
Yep, they can go to there's a community site they can go to. If they go to the Real Estate with Gary Wilson website
Mhm.
um, and click on members area, the next page, there's the left side for the members, right sides for non-members. Just click on it and go in for free. You can go in for free, I think for 30 days or something. They can go to the community site and see all the investor agents for free and reach out to them. Click on the little tab, get their name and phone number and email address, reach out to them and say, hey, I'm an investor. Can you help me invest? And the investor gets to work with a trained, certified investor agent. It doesn't cost them a dime, you know?
Oh,
Yep.
that's really
Wow.
something in it, Donna.
That
Yep.
is amazing. Because I think that's one of the things that there's so many different nuances within buying a home or real estate investment. And with all due respect to all the real estate agents, because some of the dearest friends of mine are, but sometimes you get the used car sale real estate agents, right? And I think that that's kind of scary for a lot of people. So I love the fact that you offer that for free, for a trial basis, and kind of take that fear out of it.
Yeah. Well, they can also join what's called the Global Investor Group gig. We call it a gig, brand new gig, and there's 31 gigs around the country right now, from LA to New York and everywhere in between. And that's also free for the investors. They can join that local investor group that's run by the investor agents. So not only do they get the agent to work with them, that's trained to work with them, they also get all that education. How do you flip a home? How do you buy a rental? It's all, every month we have a meeting. The meeting's free. And every now and then I'll pop in myself and answer questions and things like that. And then every 4 months, I deliver free content on flipping, wholesaling, and buying rentals as part of gig. So now they have the network to be part of and the agents to serve them. It's been a long time coming, and it's what I wish I had when I first started out.
Oh, yeah. Because that would save you a
Right.
ton of time, a lot of headache, and a lot of worry, and a lot of just problems. I did put in real estate with your name and all, and it comes up. It redirects it to myinvestmentservices.com.
That's okay. That's the core. I don't know what they call it, the core site or the hub or the root or
That's
something like
the
that.
hub. The hub. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the
Good.
right place. Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal. And Donna, having someone on here that's sharing all this information for people, and especially at a time when everyone can afford what Gary is offering here, because the only thing they got to do,
Right.
they got to believe in themselves, got to invest in themselves as far as time and a commitment to learn, and they can be successful. I mean, that's what just really blows me away about Gary, and that's I got to get you back on the radio show again here this year. So we'll make sure that happens real soon, brother.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely. And the fact that Gary, that you're taking all of your years of knowledge and expertise, trials and tribulations, and putting it forward to help people not have that same stumbling blocks that
Yeah.
you had, that you are giving the easy path, if you will, through your experience and time and energy. And I appreciate when people do that. So on behalf of everybody out there, thank you, because that is really giving back inspiration and hope to
Yeah.
people, and not wanting to help people.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Frankly, I didn't get where I'm by myself. I had some pretty darn good mentors along the way, and Socrates' dad, Mr. Demet, was the very first one, and I remember him pounding his chest, saying, you can't do this. He was from Greece. He said, you can't do this in Greece. He said, in fact, don't mean to be offensive here, but he would say, you Americans, you don't know how easy you have it. You know, he said, you all got, 5 TVs in the house and not a single book. He said, you should have 5 books and 1 TV, Um, but I listened to him. It took me 10 years to realize I need to really do this full time. And I started investing when I was 35 on a regular basis. In 5 years, I was able to retire. And I'll give you a technique. Anybody listening or watching, this is such an easy technique. Okay, there's multiple ways to buy a property. I brought my 6th book, Massive Passive Cashflow Method. There's a whole chapter, 30 different purchasing techniques. Some need no money, some need no credit, all that stuff you always hear. It's all true. I don't prefer that, but you can do that. What I'm getting at is right now, there's very high demand and very low inventory. It's like that almost all over the country, except for maybe in around Detroit. So what you do is, if you want to locate the owners directly for properties to buy, it's very easy. All you do, we call it sign capture. Any investor can do this. Any agent can do this. All right. So you want to determine what are the good rental areas in the area. Usually you can do that by doing some basic research. Go to usadata.com. There's all the U.S. Census. You can go to that. Okay. And determine which areas are the high rental areas. They give you statistics on that. And all we did, guys, is literally drive around and take pictures of those do-it-yourself for rent signs. The kind of, so they're not professional agency signs. Usually the ones the owners themselves get from Home Depot, red and white sign, handwritten phone number. Well, we know the owners leasing their own property. We would take a picture of the sign, write down the address, come back and call them. In 3 hours, you might have 12 sign captures. And here's the conversation. You call up and you say, hey, Jim, I'm calling you about your property for rent at 123 Main Street. I'm just curious, do you have other investor properties too? And Jim would probably say, well, I do. Where is exactly you looking to rent? And then I would say, well, actually, I'm an investor myself. I'm looking to buy more properties. I work with other investors, and we just can't find much for sale out there. Have you ever considered, or would you consider selling if the price was right? And they don't all say no, but a lot more of them will say yes. And if you think about that question, if the price is right, it opens up their subconscious mind to think, well, heck yeah, if the price is right, I'd sell it. That's why we're in the business. And then
Right.
not going to go into the technicalities of how do you actually purchase it. But anybody wants to learn that, just go to the website. On the home page, there's 5 different little books you can get for free. Just click on them and grab them. It'll get you started on your process of learning the how-to part. But that first initial contact doesn't require any money. You didn't have to put any Facebook ads out there. You didn't have to send any letters out or cards. You simply use you and your gas to do sign captures. And it's one of the easiest ways to get directly connected with the owners themselves.
Wow.
Not very glamorous, but not very high tech. Good old fashioned, put on your work boots and roll up your sleeves. But guys, Henry Ford had it right. It's hard work that gets you success. It's not playing the lottery and getting lucky. You gotta roll up your sleeves and get to work.
Oh, yeah.
Get your boots on
You
the
know,
ground.
yeah. You know what, Donna? I'm listening to Gary explain what he's doing there and how he can. And I know there's people out there, it's just saying, I can do that. I mean, I can get in my car and take
Yeah.
pictures and call people. And, because therefore you're not chasing a dead horse or after a dead
Right.
horse. You're not wasting a lot of money on Google ads. You're talking directly to a person that can give you a definite yes or a definite
Or
no.
no. It's
Yeah.
not a phantom person.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. It's
And
fast, it's easy, it's cheap, it's free.
yeah, it sure is. Yeah. Just get in your car and burn a little gas, and that's just simply amazing.
Yeah.
And, Donna, I tell you, we got to stop for just a moment so I can pay a bill here and have a little commercial, but we'll be right back right after this brief message, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, I'm Angel Marie Monticelli with Angel Marie Shines. And I had the pleasure, the honor to go through training for the 6-minute webinar. Oh my gosh, this webinar and how it's structured and how they teach it. Thank you, Speakers Pathway Coalition. Thank you, Don McGrath and the whole team for the 6-minute webinar, because you made it so simple, easy. And the way you lined it out with the outline, I can reproduce it. And I'm already getting the engagement. I'm getting people that are coming back that are saying, oh, I love this webinar that's so short, so to the point, and I love your products and what I'm selling, but then what I'm also the services that I provide. And I do any of this because I have the framework. So thank you so much to the whole team, because the 6-minute webinar totally rocks. Thank you.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're so glad that you're with us, and I hope that you're inspired, especially if you're looking for ways to make money in real estate and things of this nature. I mean, because Gary is giving you some grassroots reality information and things that you can do right now without a dollar bill in your hand. I mean, you can just get your camera, go take pictures, drive around, ask questions, and I mean. And you're off and running. You are light years against people that's spending money out there chasing after ads and things of this nature. And that's why Donna and I are so glad to have you here, because we're looking for people that provide value to the audience. And Gary, you're delivering that. Now, Donna, he's fantastic, isn't he?
he's incredible. I'm looking at his list of books. Oh my goodness. Rental profits without the pain, flipping for profits without the risk, turning rental problems into real estate profits, wholesaling for profits so everybody wins, investor agent, make more money, not more work, the massive passive cash flow method. I mean, it just goes on. So, I mean, you are hitting every aspect within real estate.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's funny. I'll tell you a funny story.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
I back in 2012, I wanted in the worst way to get back to Tidewater, Virginia, which is where I was from. Tidewater's, all the opening of the Chesapeake Bay, the Atlantic Ocean, all that. So I got a little place right on the Chesapeake Bay, right on the water, White House Cove. And I had a speedboat, couple paddleboards. I thought, I'm going to stay here for 3 months because I'm going to write that book. I wanted to write my first book. And I started it years before. You know how it is writing a book. You just never seem to get to finish it. So I get down there, closed off everything else. I wasn't doing any other kind of work. I just focused on what I'm going to write. Guess how long it took me to write that first book?
2 weeks?
About a day.
About
And then I thought, well, what do I do now? I got 3 months and 2 paddleboards and a dog. And so I started going paddleboarding every day. Well, I ended up writing 4 more books. So I wrote the first 5 books while I was down there, and then had the dream of, you know, one day being able to have a network of investor groups around the country that was education based, and give everybody that joins the local group, given the book for free, you know, whatever book, the flipping, rentals, whatever one they wanted. And if you notice on the titles, it's not always the bed of roses, like, you know, buy rentals and retire rich and buy a big yacht. And that can happen. But I'm here to tell you, you know, it's called rental profits without the pain, because you ever had rental properties, all this gray hair, right? There's a lot of stories behind that gray hair. So I wanted people to realize what it's really like, and then some of the pros and the cons, and the yin and the yang, because it's real life. And if they're not prepared for it, they're more likely to give up. Because I was frustrated about how many investors barely even got started. They got discouraged because something went wrong. And I'm here to tell you, the best thing you can ever do for yourself is learn to expect trouble. Whether you're a doctor, a mechanic, a teacher, a pilot, learn to expect trouble. That way you're not shocked by it when it happens, and you're prepared for it, right? And so I tell people what really happens. Yeah, you make a lot of money, but you know what? You're dealing with human nature. You're dealing with people. Between food, shelter, and clothing, you're providing shelter, right? So when people are born and people die and people get jobs, people lose jobs, people get married, they get divorced, you're inexorably tied to that human drama. And you need to understand that and be a good business person, but also be compassionate at the same time. And you can do that. So that book explains that. It gives you real life examples of what happens. At the end of the day, we call it prosperity through service. You serve a lot of people, and as a result, you prosper. You know, that's the theme with all those books. Prosperity through service. So
that is a principle that just in every area of life, no matter what the entrepreneurship is, that principle stands a test of time over and over and over. And that's how, you know, Gary, I don't know if you know this or not, but that's how this little show went from a fledgling. We were on Zoom and Facebook Live during the pandemic, because there's nothing else we could do except, you know, wonder if we had enough toilet paper left in the house. but the guests on here, the energy they provided, and just like the energy you're providing today, my goodness, it carried us forward. It created its own energy. And Tamara Tamara Hunter was the one. She's got a show here, Service Heroes. She was the one that says, "Hey, Jim, you need to bring this show to E360 TV." And I said, "Oh, okay." I mean, I hadn't thought about it. And long story short, that's how it came, because our focus was on how can we service others.
yeah,
And I love what you say there. When you're focused on servicing others with compassion and all like that, the rest the game's over. The
yeah,
game is over. There's going to be some, few things go, here and there. Like,
yeah.
like a couple of weeks ago, Don and I, we have a gentleman on from the UK. We had bad communication on this show here, the guest VIP day,
Mhm.
and so we just had to pick up the pieces and go on. But I mean, we expect things like that to happen with technology because through him coming from the
Right.
UK, there was a disconnect there. We couldn't figure it out, so we just drove on.
Yeah.
And that's important for people to know. Expect
Yeah.
it's not. There's going to be some things that's going to go wrong.
Hmm.
So don't let it throw you into cardiac arrest or lose your
Yep.
religion over anything like that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's,
Always
it's like
expect the unexpected.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a prize fighter. You're going to get hit once in a while, so just roll with the punches and come on back.
Yeah. Well, it's a couple of things. I mean, I love Zig Ziglar. He's always been such a great teacher, and I miss him here on Earth. And
Hmm.
I was blessed that my grandparents in South Carolina bought their first. My grandfather was a World War II. He was part of D-Day, the D-Day invasion. My grandfather was. He enlisted when he was 35 years old. Right when he got out, he could have been the father of some of those other guys enlisted. But in any case, his platoon, Zig
Right.
Ziglar served in the Army at different times. Zig Ziglar's platoon was the same one my granddad was in. So,
Wow.
long story short, my
Wow.
grandparents, my grandparents bought their first set of pots and pans from Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar sold pots and pans in Florence, South Carolina, for years.
Hmm.
And so, years later, I'm reading a book from Zig Ziglar, and he's got his picture on the back. My mom walks in the living room. She says, "I think I know that guy." And I said, "Mom, I'm pretty sure you've probably never gone to a Zig Ziglar event." She said, "Zig, I remember that name."
Hmm.
So she called my granddad. We call him Poppy. Was still alive. And they say, "That's old Zig. I haven't seen him since he moved to Dallas." Zig Ziglar moved from South Carolina to Dallas before he stopped by to visit my grandparents.
Hmm.
And in any case, I said, "Mom, I wish you'd have told me that when I was in my 20s. I could have been a millionaire much sooner in life." But
Wow.
but the famous saying was, if you just simply help get enough other people get what they want, you'll
Yeah.
get plenty of what you want, right?
Yeah.
So I'm
And
here to tell
that's
you,
Right.
and
yeah,
that's exactly what he used to say. So you can get anything out of life that you want, as long as you help other people get what they want.
yep,
And just yesterday, Donna, I hadn't had a chance to tell you this, but yesterday, Tom Ziegler, his son, asked me, he says,
Mhm.
give me the information to be a guest on your show. So we're going to have the honor of having Tom Ziegler on, and
nice.
I'm really looking forward to it. Really, really am.
That's
That
amazing.
is amazing.
Well,
I
That is
promised him, Donna, that
amazing.
you would serve tea and cookies and all those things while we're on the air, So
I'm gonna have to get busy.
I hear you. I hear you.
well,
I hear
here's an example of how that works in real life. So
you.
any investor out there, if you just feel like, boy, you just can't even get started, you don't have a lot of capital to work with, you don't have any experience or education with it. One of the easiest things you can do is get your realtor's license. It's like having a franchise, but you don't have to spend $250,000 on a McDonald's franchise. For about $1,000, you can get your realtor's license, and then be an investor agent. Jack, I'll train you. Learn how to serve the investors, so you're out there serving them, helping them invest, so they're getting what they want. And while you're helping them get what they want, you're learning and you're earning. And now you can go invest yourself with strength, financial strength, and intellectual strength, because there's no better training than in the field training with actual investors. It's one thing that most people won't do, but that's why it works, because if the herd goes left, we should be going right. So if every other agent says, "No, I don't want to do that," fine, let them do what they want to do. You focus on this, and you're working with a niche group of people, helping them get wealthy in real estate, and lo and behold, you'll be in the game yourself before too long. I promise you.
Oh, that's amazing. I like the way you said that because someone could get their real estate license for just a fraction of a cost, and I mean a fraction of a cost of what
Yep.
some franchise would be, and that puts you in the driver's seat.
Yep.
And
Right.
what all is involved to get a real estate
That
license other
that
than just
puts you
applying?
into.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So every state has their. Sorry, there was a delay in the technology there, but every
Mhm.
state has its own requirements. Now,
Mhm.
uh, Virginia, for example, is about 60 some odd hours of classes. Same with Pennsylvania. Florida's 72 hours. Texas is several hundred hours. The Texas is more classes to get your license. Same thing with California. Up in Canada and Ontario, 235 hours to get your license. But it's all very inexpensive learning. In most states, though, again, like Wyoming, same thing, about 60 hours of classes, and that's it. And you take an exam, and then you're approved to get your license. Then you have to have your license with an existing broker. They call it hanging your shingle. You got to hang your shingle with an existing broker. And I can make all kinds of recommendations, but the reality is pick the one you want to work with. You can pick my team if you want. I'd be happy to have you. And I'm not allowed to mention any names and brokerage companies, stuff like that, but I can tell you this is what we focus on. So do that, and then once you're an agent, then there's a lot of other training you can get for free. Okay, most brokerages have their own in-house training. The bigger the company, the more training they have. And so when you get your license, those classes are all of the legal stuff. They're not telling you how to actually market and advertise and sell and all that. You have to do that once you're an agent. Then you get all that type of training. So it's not that much. You can literally Google Oklahoma real estate licensing classes, whatever state you're in, or a Canadian province, wherever you are, and you'll get a list of providers and choose the one that works best for you. And if you have to borrow money to do it, borrow money to do that because you're going to make it back. So yeah.
That's a pretty quick return on money too. It's not a long term, is it?
No, within a few months, most agents could be up and running. Say that might be 6 months, maybe it's a year. But my philosophy is always this: when I look at statistics, I recognize that that's a wide range of people. And my approach is this: I don't want to be the average person. I don't want to be below average. I don't want to be anywhere in the middle. If I'm going to commit something, I'm going at it full steam ahead. So when I look for agents, I look for that quality. Are they ambitious? Are they teachable, coachable? Do they just simply want more? They just tired of what's happening right now in their life, and they just want more. I'm telling you, give me those folks, and I'll turn them into a rock star. They got to give me their best effort, a couple hours a week. But back to your point, I have agents I've taught, and not just me, but in the industry, I know agents who start off right out of the gate, and you can call it beginner's luck if you want, but they just have that drive, they have that belief in themselves, and they just get in the game and swing the bat, and they got transactions the very first month. Okay, most people can do it within a few short months and be up and running. Yep. So
that's really amazing because as we go forward in this country and all of the uncertainties that's going on, and we want to make sure that we remember to treat people, just like we want to be treated, with love and compassion, respect, because that's what it's about. But in the upcoming years, there's going to be a lot of changes going on. So we have to be prudent and, look out for ourselves as far as taking care of ourselves and others. And if you do that, if you focus on that and stay out of the physical and all the drama and the nonsense, all those barriers are just going to fall down in front of you, and you're going to have a clear path ahead of you. Everybody else is going to be, walking into a brick wall because they've enslaved themselves because of that.
Yeah.
And Donna, I tell you, when I talk to you, a lot of times we have very stimulating conversations as far as energy and all that. And you being out there in Phoenix, and she's actually my cousin, Gary. You don't know that, but she is. And I was adopted at age 71, so it's all her fault. But the energy that we have, and that's what you need to do in anything. You need to get in a group of people like-minded that has the same type of mind that you do, like Gary's got in real estate, and be able to crank it up, turn it on, and have fun. Don't get out there with the crowd who want to grumble, complain about this, that, and the other, because all they're going to do is just enjoy being miserable. You need to enjoy living your life. And if real estate is your calling, Gary Wilson can help you. He's your man.
Oh, thanks.
Well, you want to be with people who have that same heart and
Yeah.
who want to lift you up and not be cranky pants if you succeed, or if you do something and they're like, you want those people who are going to celebrate you.
Yeah.
You
You know
absolutely
what's funny?
want that.
In life, a lot of people are afraid to involve their family or friends in whatever they're doing. And I'm here to tell you, there's nobody in this world that wants to see you succeed more than the people who love you. They want you to
Yeah.
succeed,
Right.
And
Yeah.
and I'll give you something else here too. As we look forward into the next year and then beyond, there's always uncertainty. If we all had a crystal ball, life probably wouldn't be that fun. We just enjoy the adventure,
Yeah.
the journey of life. And we have resources to help us see what might be necessary down the road. What do people need in this world? Well, right now, one of those things is called residential assisted living. People, I've still got parents, God bless them, in their 80s, and there's a shortage of housing for the whole baby boomer generation. I'm on the tail end of it. Okay,
Yeah.
in the next 30 years, between now and 2050, 65 and over crowd is going to be growing by 52%. There's a shortage of housing. There's a shortage of services for that age group. So
Yep.
why not give people what they need, serve them, provide that service, provide a local assisted living home in your neighborhood, just a 4-bedroom ranch. That's all you need. You don't need a big giant building. In fact, I can tell you they don't want to be in a big building. They want to be in a home. They just don't want to be cutting grass and cooking anymore. So
That's
provide
right.
it's a valuable service. You make a profit. They get what they need. It's win-win. Think of it that way, and I promise you can't go wrong. You will succeed. You will have some challenges, but it's worth it. It's worth it when you see the smiles on these people's faces and people come visit them and they're happy. My gosh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
So
My
that's
folks
great.
were in a private assisted living home, and it was a larger home, but I think there was 5 bedrooms, maybe 6, but it was an amazing thing to not have my parents, who meant the world to me and beyond, to not have them in that sterile environment. Right.
Yeah.
It was an actual couch. It was
Yeah.
right. And actual meals were cooked. The
yeah,
gal who cooked meals for them was from Jamaica. And so that woman can cook up a storm. Her food was superb. And she did it with love.
Mm.
yeah,
She did it with love.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's an amazing opportunity for a whole generation of people. And so if anybody's curious about what Gary Wilson's going to be investing in, I just gave you a big giant hint. So that's where we're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep a
So
reservation for me. I might show up in 20 years or so since
there
I'm
you go.
72.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
that is really a great idea, and because there is a huge need for it,
Yeah,
and because people, you think about it, nobody wants to live in a clinic.
yeah,
I mean, a lot of these things are
Right.
like that. I mean, you'd like to have your own little room or something like that, and it's just not the
Exactly.
it, not only that, the privacy and the security
yeah,
and the closeness that people have. Because some of these folks, when my mother-in-law was in one of those places,
mhm,
they just roll them out there in the wheelchairs and they sit out there just like flowers in a pot.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
And that's about I can't imagine anyone looking forward to that or something like of that nature. But
yeah,
that's a
Right.
great example because it's very manageable. It's
yeah,
very rewarding. And
yeah,
goodness, Donna, when you were talking about cooking, and because you cooked it with love, that's one of the things that I used to tease. It's one thing I say about mothers, because our mothers are all great cooks, and that's because they made it with the hands of love. That's the
hmm
secret
Hmm.
ingredient that can't be beat. And this morning, I was actually thinking about my mother's homemade buttermilk biscuits, and I'm telling you, I had to wipe my mouth because I thought, what's going on here? And I was thinking about those biscuits. I started drooling like a hound dog at a church picnic,
yeah,
because they were that good. And
yeah,
Gary, in addition to being an author, you've written 7 books.
yeah.
And you've also built 5 businesses, including brokerage, retail management, investment services, settlement
Right?
services, and appraisal services.
Yeah.
My, again, when did you sleep? I mean, I gotta, what kind of vitamins are you taking there, brother?
Yeah. I just, you know what, Jim, I get up about 5 in the morning and I have a routine I go through every day. I start off with prayer. I mean, literally, as soon as I'm awake and aware, the first words on my lip are "Thank you, God, for another day." And I pray
Hmm.
for about a
Right.
half hour, and I go into silent prayer. Let God do the talking. I do the listening. Then I exercise, and then I do a little bit of reading. Yep, and do journaling. I have a gratitude journal. I write down everything what I'm grateful for, and I have a forgiveness journal. Like I forgive myself and others for the things we should have done or the things we didn't do we should have done. Um, and then I of course shower, eat, and all that. But I don't even the world doesn't even know I'm awake till about 9 in the morning, and yet I've already done you know f- you know 4 hours of work on myself. But when the day unfolds, and not every day goes perfectly. You've got the best plan in the world, but the plan should be in pencil. So
Yeah.
but I'm prepared for it, and stuff happens, but I don't let it defeat me or define me. I just roll
Mm.
with the punches and keep. I got my plan. I have my this is my Franklin Covey planner. I've been using it for 31 years, 32 years. It's now 32
Yeah.
years, and it allows me to keep focused on what I'm trying to achieve. And if you look at the top there, the first several items have nothing to do with business or making money. It's all about my children, my parents, my friends, and what I do to serve others. And then everything that's more about me building businesses comes next. So what I'm getting at is that type of habit, that
Mhm.
routine I go through, is what enables me to and take on the opportunity to build a new business. Remember, I've already got the relationship. I'm already helping them invest. Anybody who invests needs title insurance. They need appraisals. They need property management. They need lending. They need funding. So on the team I was telling you about, the global investor agent team around the country, we
Right.
actually have an attorney on the team. We have an attorney on the team. She's an investor. She's an attorney. We
Mhm.
have a commercial lender on the team. He lends to investors all over the country. So all that came about because, yeah, when I visualize it, I write goals about it. And when I go to achieve the goals, everything's in alignment. Everything makes sense. It's all related. It's not like I'm trying to run a pizza shop in a garage and a beauty shop. These businesses are all related, focused on that one relationship, and that person in that relationship needs these multiple services. So, um, I credit God with everything I've got, and I credit all the great mentors I've had over the years who were patient enough with me to teach me because I wasn't exactly the sharpest knife in a drawer. Okay, I had
Mhm.
a C average, 2.0 average. I did not have a 4.0. I couldn't even spell calculus if you asked me. So, but I was determined and persistent. And if I could lead people with this, I would say that people ask, "What's your secret? How do you get all that stuff done?" It has nothing to do with intelligence. I mean, all those things are important. Intelligence, having a plan, have goals, all that's really important. But
Mhm.
just never giving up. I mean, stuff is going to knock you down, and it happens every day. It's happened to me recently. But you know what? I wake up next morning. You know what? I'm awake. My heart's beating. My main mind's working. My lungs are pumping, and I'm going to give it everything I've got. So whenever everybody listening, I want you to write this down. Whenever somebody tells you you got maybe a 1% chance of succeeding, shake their hand and thank them and say thank you because I'm going to take 100% advantage of that 1% chance, right?
Mhm.
And that's the way I see things. If so, it really all those things I was talking about, they're all important, but just having that dogged determination to not give up is the only way to lose. If when you give up, you've lost. You're out of the
Yeah.
game. I'm not telling you you're going to succeed today or tomorrow if you be persistent, but if you be persistent, I'm telling you going to succeed. You know. So sorry to I've got to go off on a preaching rant there, but that's really of all the things I can teach people, that mindset, that behavior, that's probably the most important thing because it makes everything else possible. You know.
Mhm.
So,
It really does because it sets you up for success, and that's half the battle. Many times in anything is don't get mentally defeated.
mhm.
And I always you like to use the baseball batter as an example. If you take someone that's got I think Donna got had a little technical problem there, so hopefully she'll be back with us. That happens from time to time.
Okay.
But the baseball batter, if he's got a 325 average, 325 average, and he hits 40 home averages, let's say 35 home runs a year, that's a Hall of Fame career. But when
Yeah.
you stop and think about that 325 batting average,
Mhm.
that means that 675 times out of 1,000, he's not going to even get to first base.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a guy can bat 325. I think Donna's back with us now.
Okay.
But a person that can bat 325, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
the fans of that team when he gets up the bat, they really get excited because this guy he can make things happen, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yep. Yeah.
Donna, you back with us there, girl?
Yeah.
I think she's
I
having a little
am.
difficulty.
I am. You
You
know,
got to
one
put.
of the things I really, pardon?
I say you got to put a quarter in that thing every now and then.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Um,
Yeah.
That that's the way we roll, folks. When we have problems and disconnects beyond our
Yeah.
control, we just we laugh about it and go on because it's
it happens,
it's
right?
just, it's life. It's life. It's life. So we're
Yeah.
just. I'm just glad no one. I'm just glad that you're back with us, Donna. How about that?
Yeah.
But Donna, let me ask you a question. What are some of the good nuggets of truth that you were just give one or two of what Gary shared with us today?
You know, that's awesome that you asked me that, because the one thing, real estate, et cetera, that's what you do. But the nugget I got, Gary, is that you can rewrite your story every single day. You can
Mhm.
rewrite your life every single year, and you aren't stuck in your circumstances. You're not defined by it unless you tell yourself here in your head that you are. But if you come from a
Yeah.
heart, you're only going to go up and win.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that. I call it our spirit. We've got a mind, a body, and a spirit. And people question what I'll say. Look, here's the thing. Right now, you're listening to me and you're processing what I'm saying and you're formulating a response and you're formulating an opinion. You're controlling your mind to do all that. Would you agree? Most people say, yeah, I'm controlling them. That's all happening. I say, well, who's the you that's controlling all that? And then it usually stops them in their tracks. And as I said, that's the person I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Your higher self, your bigger self, your spiritual self. Operate from that level. Okay. And I promise you, your vision, your field of vision will expand as a result. And you won't be worried about launching one small local business. You can focus on launching something on a grander scale. Where you'll see all these
Right.
possibilities when you come from that frame of mind. And I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. It didn't for me. Some things I'm doing now were dreamed about 25 years ago. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so but that's why you got to be persistent. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Well, we've got about a minute and a half left. And Gary, I'm going to give you a chance just to share any closing thoughts that you would with the audience out there, anything you'd like to say. The mic is yours, brother.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Since I just mentioned one of the dreams was 25 years in the making, I'm going to mention it's called Healing House Foundation. Okay. And what it is the vision is a network of single family homes in neighborhoods across the country that are given into public service. So one home could be used for recovering addicts. Another home could be used for seniors who don't have enough money to afford a nice home in their senior years. Another one could be for battered women with children. There's a homeless. You could have a homeless shelter. So I dreamed about this for 25 years. How can Gary Wilson have all these houses around the country that aren't making a profit? I'm making them available to the public. So when I created this global investor group I told you about, all of a sudden I woke up and it hit me like a ton of bricks. My gosh, that's the answer. I don't have to own and run everything. I can make it part of the framework that these global investor groups says we're helping these investors invest and make a profit. We ask them to donate 10% of the profit to help buy a house in that area so that that person, the global investor agent running that group, can make available to AA, to your local community services department, to Goodwill, to whatever. And they can own the property, but make it available for nonprofit, for service to the community. And that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Now everything comes back full circle, and I have what's called fulfillment. Everything I'm doing has a purpose, is to serve others. And the more I do that, the more profit I make. I focus on the service. I focus on what's necessary. And all my profits from those two organizations, Global Investor Agent Team and Global Investor Group, the Investor Network, any dime I make from Global Investor Group, 100% profit goes to the Healing House Foundation. I don't keep one dime myself. It's because it's important to me. I can't go on to all the details, but I've had experiences in my own family where family members needed that kind of a home.
Yes.
Okay? And we provided it. Now we have the vision for everybody around the country to have that same benefit.
And that's called the Healing House Foundation?
Yep, look for it. We got to do all the paperwork, but we're working on the first one right now. It'll be a 501(c) nonprofit.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yep.
Because I know there's a lot of people that would just be a total blessing. Because I mean, we were talking at the very early point about him being born in Grafenwehr, and I was telling about me being on Forger 1 in Grafenwehr, and it's January and February of 1969, close to the Czech border, up in the mountains, snow on the ground, living in tents. That was pretty miserable. You just get chilled to the bone, and that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, our time is gone. We're so thankful that you joined us today. Most importantly, if you or someone you know that's really interested in real estate and they struggled or they don't really know how to get going or something like that, please get in touch with Gary. There's his website there, Gary at rewgw.com. I mean, his email address. Sometimes I use the right word with the wrong tongue, or the wrong tongue, the right word. But anyway, I'm so wrapped up in what I wanted to say there. I got website and email mixed up. But anyway, most importantly, get in touch with him. And thank you so much for sharing the show. And ladies and gentlemen, please share the show with others and let them know to get in touch with Gary if they're interested in real estate, because he is the best I've ever seen as far as providing knowledge, wisdom at a price you can afford. On behalf of Donna, I'm Jim Grant. Thank you. Thank you so much. I give everybody a chance to wave goodbye as we go to commercial. Bye-bye.
A whole new level of clarity. That's what I received when I implemented the 6-minute webinar. Look, there's no shortage of things that you could be doing to grow your business, to grow your audience, to get your message out there. It's quite dizzying. However, when you get the perfect message in front of the right people, it has an amazing ability to get those folks into action. And so much that is out there distracts us from getting back to that message and finding that right person. With a 6-minute webinar, you can absolutely do that. Hi, my name is Dustin Matthews. I recently implemented the 6-minute webinar in my business and have seen amazing results, and I've gotten a whole new level of clarity. I highly, highly recommend you implement it in your business.